My sister Martina, 34F, started dating her husband Kyle, 36M, 5 years ago. Kyle lost his first wife a year before they met, and within another year, she had met his two kids with his first wife. Her stepson was 7 at the time, and her stepdaughter was 4. They found out they were expecting a baby together 6 months later, and her stepson had a very rough time with the news. But her stepdaughter also reacted, though she and Kyle believed her stepdaughter copied her brother more than anything. Her stepson said he didn't want them to have a baby. He said some hurtful things to Martina. He cried a lot and didn't want to celebrate with them. The kids were placed in therapy, but it wasn't an overnight fix. And then when she was pregnant for a second time, her stepson reacted with more sadness and her stepdaughter reacted with some anger. It wasn't as bad. And the hurtful comments weren't made the second time. But neither kid was happy about it. Martina and Kyle got married after the birth of their first child and before she was pregnant with their second. Things are in no way perfect with them all today. And Martina expressed to me recently a lot of bitterness toward the kids for ruining her experience of having kids with their reactions. She said she felt it was so unfair that they never showed excitement or happiness about their two younger siblings. She said her stepson acting sad both times pissed her off because he got help and he still acted like his mom had just died and like they were doing something wrong by having children and getting married. She said he has never been the big brother to them that he is to his full sister. Where I might be the asshole is I told her that no matter how she felt, those kids lost their mom, and her stepson especially remembered their mom and had a lot of change in 2 years. I told her she can feel upset. But those kids had no say in this stuff. I told her she's the adult and she shouldn't have let that resentment build so much. She told me the tough love act is cruel and I should be supportive.
Comment 1. NTA, those poor kids have been through hell, and it seems that Dad was more interested in moving on than investing in his children. While people say kids are resilient, I don't think that is so much the case. Kids internalize what they can't vocalize and it comes out in many forms. The SS is both sad and angry and hurt that his father didn't mourn his mom the way he was and quickly replaced her with another, and then there were babies, to a young mind, that would or could be seen as replacement children. Your sister needs to stop thinking about what she lost or missed out on and start attending to all the children. OP comment. The other thing is, from what my brother has said, the anger from my sister's stepdaughter also comes from the fact her mom isn't talked about anymore unless it's from her brother. Kyle talked about her up until a certain point, but then it seems he stopped. Which hasn't helped either. Comment 2. NTA. 2 little kids can't ruin her experience as a mother unless she lets them. And the kids are even less responsible for their feelings than she is for hers, but you are right that as the adult she should have the tools to deal with hers. It's possible family counseling could have helped them, maybe still could, but it isn't going to suddenly and magically create warm sibling feelings among them all, and she's overdue to let that fantasy go. My mother-in-law is currently going through a health scare and is being tested for cancer. She won't have her results for a week or so. But since the mention of cancer, my mother-in-law has been clinging to my husband fiercely. She has been asking him to go over there every day for the past 3 weeks just to hang out with her because she might not have much time left. She's been having him drive her to every doctor's appointment. She's even jumped the gun and quit her job to sit at home and work on her health, which is fine, but what's not fine is her already asking my husband if she can borrow money. Thankfully he hasn't given her anything, I would know, as I work our finances. Anyways, there have been multiple times in the past 3 weeks that my husband has run late for special events, work, etc. because he's over helping his mother. And as much as I hate to admit it, it has been the cause of 3 pretty significant fights recently. His argument is that he wants to spend time with his mother because life is short and where she may have cancer, he's not doing so well mentally. And I get that. But he's severely impacting me by doing so. Like I missed an important ultrasound because Mommy Dearest needed him because she was having a panic attack. He did try rushing home and he got me to my appointment, but I was 15 minutes late and therefore they needed to reschedule. Well, Yesterday around 10 a.m. I told my husband I felt like I was going to go into labor soon. My body felt different and there was a lot more pressure. But roughly 2 hours later his mother calls and says that she is shitting blood and needs to be rushed to the emergency room. Instead of calling an ambulance she called my husband. She has Medicaid, so ambulance rides aren't something she has to pay for. He immediately rushed to her side. My water breaks at 1:36 p.m. I remain calm. I was already having a home birth. My midwife was on her way. I knew everything would be okay. But I did call my husband. No answer. I then text my husband and I asked him where he was. No response. I text again and ask him how long he will be. No response. I text a third and final time, saying I kind of need you ducking home. No response. I have the baby without him. I did not tell him anything about me being in labor. I have our daughter at 3:13 p.m. I text my husband a picture of our daughter, with no context. He is home within a half hour, is pissed at me for not sending him a text specifically stating that my water had broken, and I find out that he had been sitting in his truck in the parking lot, waiting for his mother outside, so he had his phone and got my texts, but he was stressing and figured it was yet another false alarm. I had 3 false alarms. He says I'm in the wrong. I'm choosing to ignore his anger, as I have bigger things to worry about, my perfect daughter, but now that I've had her, I do feel a bit of guilt. His mom is fine. It was a bleeding hemorrhoid, which she has a history of apparently from what my husband just told me, so she was likely fully aware that it was her hemorrhoid again. Comment 1. Just tell him life is short, and he has to decide if he wants to miss any more milestones in your daughter's life. It's up to him. You're not going to wait on him to pencil you and the baby into a little slot in his very busy schedule. TBH, he knew his mom wasn't dying at that moment, and he did know there was a possibility of you being in labor, where you could have legit died leaving your newborn home with just your midwife. I'd be out, sorry. Comment 2. NTA. I get it that his mother might be sick, but his wife is 9 months pregnant. He showed you who is more important to him. His mommy. Not his wife and future child. Believe him. Lots of people have cancer and it is a terrible disease, but they don't need constant help like this from their son. Let's also not forget she hasn't even been diagnosed yet. You need to seriously consider your future with this man, if you can even call him that. Comment 3. 100% NTA. As scary as cancer is, I have seen way too many mothers who absolutely needed their sons away from their spouses and came up with all sorts of medical issues, which turned out to be no issues after all. His mother is not dying, there are no results, and yet the husband acts like the mother could die any minute. He makes it clear who his priority is. Do you want your child to grow up in a family that allows and excuses this behavior? If he can't, or doesn't want to, set boundaries with his mother. You have to set some for yourself. Take care of yourself and your child and do what's best for both of you. I'm 17M, the second youngest in my family. I have 2 sisters and a brother, Jesse, 23F, Caden, 21M, and Luna, 14F. This post is about Luna. We're the only 2 siblings still living at home, and our parents do provide us with food and stuff. But my parents aren't big on chocolate or candies, so they never buy them. We can buy our own with our own money once we're old enough to earn some, which is what I do. My parents also have a very bland palate. They don't like curries or stir-fries with sauce, they don't do anything spicy at all. Not even a touch of spice. But I love those things. So sometimes I buy stuff to make those things and make curry for myself, or I'll make spicy chicken. So onto Luna. She's the baby of the family and our parents spoiled her way more than the rest of us. They let her get away with being a brat to people, and she's not someone I like being around, and neither do our older siblings. She always wants to tell us what to do and she demands things. One time my parents were away at a wedding and Jesse and Caden came home to babysit, which was just my parents, saying they could stay at the house and eat for free because they paid for it and make sure Luna and I were okay. This was last year and Luna screamed so loud the neighbor came out to see if we were okay, and it was all because she wanted pizza while we wanted ramen. Luna said we couldn't have ramen and we all needed to get pizza. She tried taking the money out of Jesse's hand. She tried to break Jesse and Caden's phones. She even screamed at the neighbor that we wouldn't let her get pizza. Caden found a frozen pizza and Luna screamed more that it wasn't what she wanted. Another time Caden was home from college and she demanded he take her to her friend's house because mom and dad weren't home. She pulled him out of bed. She threatened to break his laptop. Everything. She's always telling me to do stuff for her and screaming when I say no. So I never buy her anything from what I earn because I honestly don't feel like she deserves it. Lately she's been getting so jealous of the food I buy myself and she told me to save some for her. I told her no. She told me I can't tell her no and I said I can and I did and I'll do it again. She screamed into my face and demanded I give her some of my food. I said no. She has food in the fridge. She ran and told our parents and like they always do, they backed her and told me I should be willing to share. I told them I would share when she treats me better and gets a way better attitude. My parents and Luna called me a jerk and my parents said I wasn't being generous like they taught me to be. Comment 1. Of course you're NTA. Your parents sound like they are living with their head firmly up their asses though. Have you or any of your older siblings tried flipping the script on Luna? Like demand something of her and get up in her face screaming the demand? Threatening to break her stuff? I wonder how she and parents would react to that. Comment 2. Has anyone told your parents straight? If Luna was a decent person in any way I'd be happy to share. She's not. She's a violent, manipulative bully who screams, threatens and has toddler tantrums when she doesn't get exactly what she wants when she wants. Life is going to hand her some shocking lessons when she leaves home and finds out the world doesn't bow down to her like her parents do. You have created a monster who is going to have a miserable, friendless life unless you start telling her no. Comment 3. You should tell your parents that if they taught female Dudley to be less demanding and wholly unreasonable then you could be more generous. If 3/3 siblings find their daughter intolerable, what is that saying about that kid? They need a reality check and I forbid you to share with her until you genuinely want to do so. NTA. For context, I, 28F, have a brother, 25M, and he and his wife, 25F, had twin boys about a year ago. The twins were unexpected but even so, I would say they transitioned relatively smoothly into parenthood. My brother and his wife were both able to take time away from work to raise the twins. While my sister-in-law was able to stay home, my brother had to return to work since they weren't expecting 2 babies. This and the fact that my sister-in-law wasn't working led to her eventually going back to work early as well, which left them the issue of childcare. My brother and Sil both work hard and money was really tight for them, so they asked if I could take care of the babies a few days per week so they could cut down on costs. I am fortunate enough to work from home most days and live alone, so I agreed because it felt like it was something I could do for them and bond with the babies. We have had this arrangement going on since my brother and Sil returned to work and it was fine at first. Work was relatively slow and I was happy to spend time with my nephews. However, taking care of them has created a strain not only on myself but my bank account as well, since they are growing. My brother and Sil often work late, meaning I am feeding them dinner and taking care of them well into the evening. I haven't put up much of a fuss and I haven't been charging them because of their financial situation. However, work has progressively been getting more busy and has started to take more attention from me. I was also recently offered a higher position in the company, but it would require me to work fully in person. Today, while I was with my brother, I told him about my promotion and that I would not be able to take care of the twins anymore. He freaked out and called me a terrible sister, saying that I was abandoning my family. I wasn't really able to explain myself further because he left in a hurry all angry. A couple hours ago, I received some really nasty messages from my Sil and my parents, saying that I am extremely selfish, disgusting and shameful for choosing work over family. My parents aren't able to help, as they live on the other side of the country and are not mobile. I know if I stop helping with childcare, my brother's family will suffer, so now I'm rethinking my decision. Comment 1. Please don't. He's incredibly selfish and ungrateful. He's had free childcare and expected you to give up your life and dreams and future for his children? Those kids have two parents who decided to bring them into this world and are responsible for them. Not you. You've done them an enormous favor and they have decided to berate you and call you names. I'm disgusted with them. Please don't give up your promotion. Please don't let them browbeat you into being their slave labor. NTA. Comment 2. NTA. You absolutely should not and cannot sacrifice your career to take care of someone else's children. You've done far too much already in actually having them for so much time and absorbing the extra costs. You tell them that as of X date, you will no longer be available to provide childcare and make sure you leave earlier than expected to go into work for the first week or two in case they try to dump them on you. The fact that they are complaining when they should be blessing and thanking you for the major help is a red flag. They sound ungrateful and awful.